Content production is a lot like music, in the sense that not every song is a hit. You need to have a firm grip on reality to understand that some of your content is a flop. Also, sometimes, the content you post isn't worthy of promotion. Save your money and promote only what you feel is the best content. Sometimes you'll know what content is worthy of sponsoring by the time you're done creating it. There will also be those times when a piece of content unexpectedly takes off, and that too is a good candidate for sponsoring. The entire purpose of sponsoring your content is so that it gets in front of as many people as possible. Follower counts don't matter, not at all. How many of you are shocked to read those last two sentences? If you're shocked by them, then you have an old school mentality when it comes to social media. Back in the day, people only cared about the number of followers you had. The number of followers must have meant that you were doing something right. The truth is, the number of people who follow your account is meaningless. It means nothing at all to have thousands of followers if they don't propel you in some way. You can't think of a site like LinkedIn and see it only as a numbers game. You must build individual relationships to get the most out of this social networking site. Anything short of that, and you're missing the point. People do business with other people, and you need to know as many of them as possible. The success or failure of someone often lies in who they know. If you don't know the right people, you're never going to succeed in life. LinkedIn allows you to know the right people. You can connect with them right on the platform and set up business deals locally or on the internet. Don't make the mistake of knowing them by their handle or nickname. You need to remember both their first and last names. Refer to them as their name when you're dealing with them. Also, don't be afraid to set up a business lunch with the people you meet on LinkedIn. Do your best to get to know them as personally as possible.
Business is a very personal sport, and you need to take away the anonymity of the internet. See people as living creatures, and you will begin to treat them as such. It's a small hack in the world of business that will have enormous consequences down the line for your financial future. If you can deal with people on a personal level, it'll give you the upper hand because that's how humans like to be treated. It's when you act like people are a number that they forget you and your business. You've heard the term rich media being tossed around like a hot potato. What does it mean? Rich media is a term that often refers to pictures, videos, or graphics. The most common form of rich media is videos, though a close second runner-up is pictures. You can't have social media with either pictures or videos. People become bored quickly, reading only text. That's why you see the most popular posts on social media either have a picture or a video in them. Rarely does an all-text post go viral in today's high-bandwidth online world. The addition of video will do more than help your posts get more viral traffic. It will also help you increase your profitability on LinkedIn. Profit matters no matter if you're spending money on advertising or not. Is there really profit on social media if you don't invest advertising money? Well, the short answer to that question is yes. Time is money, and you have to invest it if you're going the free route. You want to receive the highest profits possible, no matter if you're investing with your time or money. A massive mistake people make is undervaluing their time. You'll never get ahead in life if you value your time less than you do money. Try to think of yourself as someone who is following your account. What types of content would you like to see? What would you be most likely to share with others? It's when you answer these vital questions that you begin to understand the needs of your followers. Your job is to meet those needs, and success is right around the corner when you do. There is no way to go viral on LinkedIn or any other platform without meeting the needs of the user. The difference between LinkedIn and Facebook is that you're not trying to meet the entertainment needs of others. It's strictly business here, and anything short of that won't yield the type of results that you're after. You can't get away from optimizing everything these days. It seems that you spend more and more time making your pages, social accounts, and even YouTube channel optimized for internal searches. LinkedIn is no different in that you have to optimize your account and content for the best results. Everything in today's world is based upon an algorithm. It's our job to make sure our profiles and pages show up when a person searches for them. If it's not your profile, then someone else is getting all the traffic. Your LinkedIn profile is a lot like a web page in Google in that you're trying to target specific keywords. Your ranking for those keywords will determine if you're successful or not. Nothing else determines your success like ranking does. Anyone who ranks on the second or third page knows how useless it is. You know better than anyone else that there's no benefit at all for ranking so far back. No one looks so far back when they're trying to connect with someone on LinkedIn. Use your personal experience when trying to determine the importance of ranking. You know that to gain any traction, you've got to be at the top or at the very least on the first page. It's not a numbers game when it comes to the amount of traffic you receive from LinkedIn. Your focus needs to be on the quality of traffic. Any person who visits your profile that doesn't benefit you in some way is a waste of your effort. If you view LinkedIn as a popularity contest, then you've already lost. You're not here to become popular or to have a bunch of meaningless friends. Your end goal is to build a small, tight-knit community of business people you can rely on to further yourself. That's it. Anything beyond that is a waste of time that you could have used more wisely to make money. It seems everywhere we look, there is statistics to compile and consume. LinkedIn is no different since they offer analytics for your account. You can't overlook the importance of these numbers as they will help guide you in every aspect. You'll use this information to help you create content that has the best reach. You'll use it to determine if your profile is set up correctly to target the correct followers. There is no information that LinkedIn provides that isn't useful. Every day you have numbers thrown in your face. Trying to make use of those numbers can be anywhere from difficult to impossible. It doesn't have to be that way when it comes to LinkedIn analytics. Everything is laid out in an easy-to-read format that is intended to make growing your account easier. It will become easier over time if you learn why all of the information is important. You shouldn't expect yourself to learn how to make the most of this data overnight. Allow yourself a little wiggle room to get to know how it all works. No one is a genius at anything overnight. It takes time to figure out how to read the analytics and also how to make the most out of the information provided. Sometimes what you do will end up being the right thing. No one is perfect, and some of your actions will harm your account. It's by studying what's working and what isn't that you know what to do or not to do. You may also find out that the people who consume your content get burned out when you talk about the same thing repeatedly. Every step of the way needs to be closely monitored, so you're able to create content that is best suited for your followers. By giving them what they want, you'll be able to grow your account while meeting the needs of the people who matter most in your industry. Groups have taken the world of social media by storm. LinkedIn has groups, and you might participate in a few of them. Did you know that you can have your own group? It costs nothing for you to start your own group. The reason why so many social platforms provide groups is that they keep people on the site. The whole goal of any social networking site is to keep you there as long as possible. LinkedIn doesn't want you to go elsewhere to talk to people when you can do it at their site. That's the logic of giving account holders the ability to run their own group. No one likes a moderator who seems more like a prison guard than someone who keeps the flow of conversation going. However, you do need to set the tone for your group. That means you're responsible for not letting spam get out of hand. You also need to make sure that everyone is treating each other with respect. Who knew you were going to be the one in charge of the playground someday? Moderating a group has many similarities to someone keeping an eye on children playing at the playground. You need to make sure everyone plays nice and discipline those who misbehave. People will look at you to see how they should act in the group. How do you treat others? If you're a jerk, then they'll act the same way. You have to understand that what happens in your group is a reflection of yourself. If you don't police your group, it will give you a bad reputation. Keeping a positive flow of conversation where everyone respects each other isn't as tricky as it sounds. You need to set the example and make sure everyone understands the rules. If you do those two things, your group will be perfectly fine. Though you will need to throw someone out by the seat of their pants sometimes. That's what being a moderator means. And sometimes it's nice to take your frustrations out on someone if you're having a bad day. The enjoyment factor of consuming content is something people often overlook. People need to be able to enjoy consuming your content. There can be no doubt about that whatsoever. Content that is too dry or boring will never go viral. People will stop reading your content after 100 words or less. The time you spent creating the content will go down the drain after that. Think about that the next time you create a piece of content that isn't your best. Also, you need to make sure your content has a flow to it. An enjoyable piece of content will flow from start to finish, with the reader feeling like they gained something from investing their time consuming your content. A piece of content shouldn't only be a video. LinkedIn's search engine isn't good enough to scan through the video for keywords. You still need a text post to give their search engine something to work with. How many words you should use to accompany your video is up for debate. You should use enough words to get your point across while not being boring. The moment your post becomes too wordy is when things get out of hand. The text in your post should add value that isn't in the video. A person should have to consume both pieces of content to get the full picture. Imitation is the best form of flattery. No one is saying that you should steal their content or their ideas. You do want to learn how they format their posts. That in itself is the one piece of information that is the most vital. You should read their text and also watch the video to learn what they're doing. Those who are established in your industry create such content because they know how it works. The same techniques will work for you if you apply them properly. It's when people find your content useful and enjoyable that they share it, and then your account grows organically. Everyone has at least a little bit of vanity in them. Take advantage of this by tagging leaders in your industry in your content. All it takes is a short notification to get the ball rolling. If you haven't talked to someone in a while, then a tag is a good thing. It will help you get back on their radar. Also, there may be people who you want to connect with. By tagging them, you make it more likely that they'll notice you in the future. LinkedIn is all about networking and trying to rub shoulders with as many people as possible.